Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna smoke chuck roast. That's right, we're gonna do smoked chuck roast, and we're gonna pull it apart and make pulled beef sandwiches with them. These are gonna be excellent sandwiches for any time, but especially for game day. All right, so pulled beef sandwiches coming right up. Let's go. Alright guys, so that's right, we're going to do pulled beef sandwiches today made from smoked chuck roast. Now smoked chuck roast is an excellent cut of beef to get, especially if you want to practice on brisket. I know a lot of you have followed the brisket videos that I've done and you talk about how you don't want to ruin brisket. Well, I'm telling you, a chuck roast is a perfect cut to practice your brisket cooking skills on. It's a lot cheaper than buying brisket. It's a smaller deal, so you can cook it a lot faster than you would a regular brisket. So anyway, that's what we're going to use today. Is we're going to get some chuck roast from my local Costco, and we're going to make smoked pulled beef sandwiches. So let's go. All right guys, so let's get started on getting this chuck roast seasoned up for our pulled beef. All right, so as you can see here, I went to my local Costco and I picked up some chuck roast, and man, it's just got some great marbling of fat throughout the meat there, which is gonna go excellent for these sandwiches. So anyway, so that's what I went ahead and got, and today we're gonna go ahead and get these seasoned up with some sticky fingers brisket rub. Now this stuff here, it's got a great flavor straight out of the bottle. It's got a nice little pepper kick to it, and you know, salt and pepper, you know, that's kind of my thing, so I kind of love doing that. So anyway, we got our beef here. We're not going to use a binder. The meat is tacky enough that I don't think we're going to need to use a binder for it, so we're just going to go ahead and apply our rub, guys. Alright, so just like that, we got our brisket rub put onto these chuck roast, guys, and now we're gonna go ahead and get them on the grill. So I'm gonna see you at the grill, alright? Alright guys, so today our weapon of choice, we're going to be using our TheDawgfatha silverback. Now today I'm going to be running this thing at 275 degrees, and we're going to be using B&B brand post-oak pellets. So let's go ahead and get these chuck roasts put on here, and let's get some smoke into them, alright? Alright, let's do it. Alright guys, so we just got our chuck roast onto our silverback here. Now I'm going to explain what we're going to do with this cook here, because it's going to be kind of a variation off of how I do brisket. What we're going to do with this is we got this seasoned up, we got it on, we're just allowing it to get some smoke onto it right now. So we'll probably smoke it here for the next, I don't know, maybe hour and a half, 2 hours. Get some good smoke on it. We might flip it over at that point just to get some more smoke on it and even it out, and let it smoke again for another hour and a half, 2 hours possibly. We'll kind of feel it out as we go along, and then at that point it's going to be time for us to get this chuck roast wrapped up. Now today I'm going to actually spritz it, and I'm going to be spritzing with a mixture of beef broth and maybe a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and so that's what we're going to go ahead and spritz this chuck roast with, and keep it nice and moist through this cook. And again, we're just gonna smoke it right now, get some smoke flavor on it, and then we'll wrap it up and break it down and get it super tender so we can pull it apart to make these sandwiches. All right, so I'll bring you guys back when it's time for us to get on to the next step. All right, I'll see you then. Alright guys, so hey, we've been rolling for about 2 hours on these chuck roasts here that we've got smoking away on our TheDawgfatha. So now it's going to be time to turn them over. And the reason I'm turning them over is because I'm trying to promote a good even cook or a good even smoke on these chuck roasts. So we're going to get them flipped over and let them keep rolling, alright? Alright guys, so hey, we're at about the 4-hour mark on this cook. So the only thing that I've done since I last left you was I did go ahead and I spritzed the chuck roast a couple of times. And again, I used some beef broth and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. So in my sprayer, I probably have about 4 cups of beef broth, and I've probably got maybe a 1/4 cup of W sauce in there. So I've spritzed these chuck roasts just to kind of keep them moist, and we've turned them over once at the 2-hour mark. And so now we've got enough smoke on these chuck roasts, and so we're gonna go ahead and get them wrapped. Now typically, if you follow my channel, you know I typically use butcher paper, but I'm gonna use aluminum foil today. Why? I'm not really too concerned with a good solid bark like I typically do on brisket, so we're gonna use foil today. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray down my foil. I'm gonna get the chuck roast put into the foil. We'll get it wrapped up and we'll get it back on the pit so we can get it broken down and get it tender enough to pull apart later for these sandwiches. All right, so let's crack open the griller and let's get these chuck roasts off here and get them wrapped. All right, let's go. Alright gang, so hey, we're about to go ahead and check our tenderness. Now if you remember, whenever we cook brisket, I'm using the same type of principle for this with this chuck roast. And so we're going to use our ThermoPro to poke inside this chuck roast just to check for our tenderness. So let's get this grill cracked open, let's check for our tenderness, and if it's where we want it to be, we'll get it off and let it rest so we can get it pulled apart. Alright, so let's check it out. Alright guys, so to get this checked, we're going to just lift up this foil here where I had it laying right over the top, and we're going to take our ThermoPro and I'm just going to slide it right in here and kind of feel it. Now I know you guys always want to know, what is the temperature? What's the temperature? Well, we're at 211, almost 212 degrees here, and it feels pretty good. I'm poking this other one as well. Both of these are pretty much where I want them to be. So I think we're ready to get these pulled apart. So I'm going to get these off and we're going to let them rest. Alright guys, so let's do a recap of what we did with today's cook. So we got us a couple of chuck roasts from our local Costco. We brought them home, we got them seasoned up with our Sticky Fingers brisket rub. We got them onto our LonestarGrillz. Now today we're running that LonestarGrillz at 275 degrees with B&B brand post oak pellets. We smoked it for a good 2 hours, and then we flipped these chuck roasts over to promote a good even smoke throughout the entire chunk of meat. At the 4-hour mark, we pulled these chuck roasts off and put them in aluminum foil, and we used our spritz. Again, our spritz today was just some beef broth and some W sauce. But we got these chuck roasts wrapped up in aluminum foil and we got them back on the pit. Now at that point, we went ahead and got our temperature turned up to 300 degrees. We were at 275 for the first part of the smoking part of the cook, and then we got to 300 now that we're going to break it down and make these chuck roasts nice and tender. So after a total cooking time of about 5 hours, we pulled these chuck roasts off, we let them cool down, we got them pulled apart, and we assembled sandwiches. And so now you are caught up on what we did with today's cook, so let's go taste it. Alright guys, so as you can see, we got our sandwich here put together. I pulled that beef apart and we made this sandwich with some pickles and some onions, and we used a little Head Country apple habanero barbecue sauce. Good stuff. But man, I tell you what, it's time for us to get into this sandwich. So if you've never tried pulled beef sandwiches, man, I'm telling you, grab you some chuck roast, practice on it just like you make a brisket, cook it further down just like you do pulled pork, and just pull it apart and make a great succulent sandwich. So let's get into this sandwich. All right. give you guys a good look at that right there. You know I'm a grown man, so I had to pile it high. So cheers, let's get into this. You know me. Before I bite into this, guys, if you enjoyed what you saw in this video, make sure you check out a couple of links that I put right here, as well as hit that subscribe button up there. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.